Hey everyone, so in this video, I'm going to tell you how I was able to save $20,000 in just 6 months. Now, some may be thinking that's impossible, I can't save that much. It's not so much about the specific amount of money or the time frame that I use, it's about the systems and the strategies that I put in place to save more money to reach my goals. And that's what I'm going to tell you about today to help you be able to save money consistently and reach your financial goals. Speaking of that, step one is to have something you're saving towards, have some goals. It doesn't have to be specific, written out budgets or goals or amounts, or it can be if you like to be more organized like that, but it needs to be something that you are saving towards. It helps a lot with the motivation. Me personally, I was saving to travel when I finished university. So I always knew this is what I'm saving towards, this is where my money's going. And I find that's super helpful because without that, it feels like you're just skipping out on things you're not spending, on things you want to spend on, and it's for no reason. But when you have something specific you're saving towards, you know, okay, so I'm not going out for this meal because my money's going to go to this. I know this was a huge help to me. For example, my coworkers wanted to go out for a meal, but I knew I wanted to save that $30. I knew, okay, when I go traveling, I'm going to be able to spend this $30 and it's going to go way further and I'm going to enjoy it way more. It's much more difficult to save when you have no reason behind it. You're just saving for some mythical reason. I know some people can do that, but I find it much more motivating and much easier to save when you have an explicit reason. Now for you, it could be something completely personal. It's going to be completely different. Travel is a big motivator for lots of people, but it could be buying a new car. It could be buying your first car. It could be getting a new laptop. It could be saving to start your business. So whatever you are working towards, whatever you want to save for, make sure you have that in mind. Maybe write it down. Maybe set a very specific financial goal like $5,000, $10,000, and start saving towards it because it's really going to help you know what you're working towards and keep you motivated as you try to save, because you have to make a couple sacrifices and you want to know they're worth it. The second tip I have for you is to track your spending, and I differ a bit from the typical have a budget advice here. I find having a budget isn't the best strategy for most people. It's really hard to lay out in the future how much you're going to spend. Say, I'm only going to spend this much on groceries. I'm only going to spend this much on going out. It's hard to tell. Things change from month to month. So personally, what I like to do is just track backwards. At the end of each month, I'll go through my credit card statement and just look at all the expenses and categorize them into food and drink, going out, purchases, transportation, all that, and just keep it in an Excel sheet, make it really simple, make it really easy. Just quickly jot those down. It takes me 5 minutes. And then I can see the running total each month of how much do I typically spend on groceries, how much do I typically spend on transportation, all that. And then maybe what you're able to cut on. It's good to just be conscious of your spending in this way, because a lot of the time money's going out on things that you don't even realize. Like you're spending $100 a month on coffee, or maybe you're buying a bunch of different products on Amazon each month and you're not even using them, but you just don't realize. So tracking your spending just quickly, easily, it keeps you accountable. It makes you just know, I know I'm spending this much, and it allows you to see, okay, maybe I don't want to spend this much in this category, and I didn't really realize I was, so now I can cut back. It really makes a huge difference to be aware of your spending in each category. So make it simple, make it easy, but definitely know where your money goes, because there's nothing more useful in saving than knowing where it actually goes. Step 3 is automatic withdrawals, and more generally, automating your personal finances. This is a more systematic approach, just making things automatic, making them easy so you don't have to think about it. The most important one is having an automatic withdrawal as soon as you get paid straight into your savings account, because what you don't see, you don't spend. And this ties back to point number 2 about tracking your spending. So it's good to know how much you're going to need at the bare minimum. Say, for example, you make $2,000 a paycheck and you spend about $3,000 a month. So you're getting 2 paychecks at $2,000 a month and you're spending $3,000 a month. So I would just have every paycheck, when I get my $2,000 and I only need $1,500 of it, $500 comes off the paycheck immediately. So now, with no work of your own, you're saving that $500 and you can spend all the rest of your money stress-free, not worry about it. That's the best part of the strategy, is that it comes off automatically, you don't have to do anything, and now you can freely spend all your money on whatever you want. You don't have to worry about budgeting, you don't have to worry about not spending all this. It's done. The work is done for you right off the bat, and you can just live your life. Because that's what this is all about, saving money easily, not having to work hard, not have to constantly think about it and stress. So now that we have something we're saving for, we're tracking our spending simply, easily at the end of each month, and we have automatic withdrawals so that we're saving right away each paycheck. The next tips are going to be about actually cutting expenses in each category. So the first category we'll talk about is food, how to cut expenses in food. Now, the two biggest ways to cut expenses in food that I found that are the most helpful and the easiest, number one is meal planning. So each week, making 5 meals for the full week of work, breakfast and lunch, of a nice simple meal that you like and is cheap. I personally love this tip. It's one of my favorite strategies because it saves tons of money because you're making food, which is way cheaper than buying it out, and you're making it with cheap staple foods, and you don't have to worry about making your lunch every day or where you're gonna buy it or anything. It's just done for you. It makes my life so simple, it's so easy, and as a bonus, I'm saving money. So my typical go-tos, I would make overnight oats, 5 cans of overnight oats each week, and then typically maybe burrito bowls. I would switch it up each week for lunches. So maybe burrito bowls one week, soups one week, but things that I can put in the fridge and they'll last all week. And I just, in the morning, grab my oats, grab my lunch, and I'm good to go. And I make it all on Sunday. Just made my life so easy, made me very happy, and I saved a bunch of money as a result. Now, the other way to save money on food is not eating out as much. Now, this ties in with meal planning, but it's just more generally not eating out. You don't want to be eating out every day. Eating out is way, way more expensive than cooking at home. And the other most important thing I think people fail to realize about this, they say, oh, well, I want to enjoy my food, I want to enjoy my life. But what actually happens when you eat out all the time is it stops being special, it stops being an event, and you don't enjoy it as much as someone who, say, eats out maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. So try to cut back, try to make eating out an event, a special event where you go out, you enjoy it, you chat with your family or your significant other, and it's special, it makes you happy. Because if you're doing it all the time, you're eating out at lunch every day, you're eating out at dinner 3 times a week, it loses that specialness and you're spending way more money. And you're not eating as healthy meals because eating home-cooked meals is typically healthier too. So make eating out a special occasion and really enjoy it. You'll enjoy it more and you'll save more money. The next category to try and save money on is transportation. This is a classic and you can really spend tons of money on transportation or you can really cut it to the bottom. I know it's going to be hard to change based on where you live or what your city situation is, but I'll just give a couple tips. I personally used public transportation to get to work every day. It was very cheap, cost me maybe $100 a month for unlimited rides. I took the train to work every day and it was great. I actually really like public transportation. You get to sit down and relax, but not everyone wants to take public transportation. That's fine. Also, biking is super cheap. No gas, no nothing. So if you're able to do that, that's awesome. But maybe you don't want to give up your car, you really like driving, or you need a car. That's fine, but it's really important to be strategic about it because you can save a lot of money driving versus spending tons and tons like most people do. So the most important one is to buy used. Buy a car lower on the depreciation curve. Someone's already eaten the cost of depreciation and you get it much cheaper. The second way is to try to save on parking. Try to find a good strategy. I know when I went to school, I had found a secret little spot that was a longer walk, but not too bad, that I could park for free. That saved me tons of money. I know a lot of people at work park at a cheaper lot a couple blocks away and walk more, but it saves them $15 a day. Stuff like that's really important. Also, getting a car that's good on gas, learning a couple techniques to drive better on gas is really important, but the main one is buying a reliable, cheap, used car because that'll save you all the money. You don't want those expensive car payments coming out every month. Just buy a used one in cash that you've done your research on, is reliable. Don't be stuck with a $500 or $1,000 car payment a month because that's just draining your account for no good reason. And the third category I'll talk about saving money on is clothing. Now, this is a very hot topic. Lots of people talk about it. I know lots of people want to be fashionable, they want to be stylish, and that's fine. I'll talk about that later. But me personally, I am very utilitarian, very minimalist about it. I just once a year buy a good set of clothes, or maybe once a season, but usually just once a year, I buy one nice set of clothes that I can wear all year, hopefully longer, but as I've been growing, they haven't lasted more than a year. But typically, buy one set of clothes that's nice and utilitarian and wear that. You can see I'm wearing my nice blue shirt, so I'll typically buy, 4 or 5 pairs of pants and then maybe 5 to 7 shirts that I like and just alternate them all year. And that's it. Keep it simple. You can have some sweaters to mix it up. You can definitely still be fashionable, still look good, and save money. Now, of course, some people really like the trends. They like being fashionable and keeping up with things. That's totally fine too. What I'd recommend for that is try thrifting. It's better for the planet and it's better for your wallet. You go to the thrift stores, you can pick out some new styles. It's also a very trendy thing to do anyways, is thrifting. So you can save a ton of money doing thrifting, still update your wardrobe a lot and try a bunch of different things. With clothing, it's less about consistently saving money and more about not blowing a bunch of money, because lots of people will blow tons of money on a bag, shoes, new wardrobe all the time. So you just want to avoid dropping all that money in one big burst, because that's money that you want to be saving. If you're trying to save money to meet your goals, then you want to try to avoid blowing a bunch of money on clothes and jewelry and fashion all in one go. And the last category to save money on is the big one. It's housing. Now this one is a lot more difficult to change because, you know, maybe you own a house or you're in a 1-year lease, and that's okay. This isn't one you need to change right away. If you can, that's great. But it is something that you can save a ton of money on. Like the automatic withdrawals, you'll be saving that money every month just automatically because you're living for cheaper. So it's a really important thing to think about when you have the chance to implement it. The big one off the bat, if you're younger like me, you can live with your parents. That will save you a ton of money, live for free, live with your family for free. Now, not an option for most people, totally fine, but consider it if you're still young and you can, because you will save tons and tons of money. The second one step up here, is living with roommates. This is awesome, especially if you're young, you save tons of money. You can split a 3-person apartment 3 ways. I had friends in university who were living for $500 a month in a nice downtown apartment, $500 a month each. That's just excellent. They were loving it and saving tons of money. Then the third one, another step up, is just to make sure you're not paying for way more than you need. Lots of people buy really big houses right off the bat and they're paying a big mortgage and they have 2 or 3 empty rooms. Or they're renting a 2-bedroom apartment when they only need 1. There's no need to pay for more than you need for years before you need it. Like maybe they say, oh, well, I do want to have kids or I want to have pets, but they're not going to for 2 or 3 years. That's when it's better to just make sure you're only paying for what you need right now, because that $500 a month you could save by having a bit less space that you don't currently need could be money you're saving each month towards your goals and might make you much happier. So think about that. There are, of course, a bunch more different ways to save that get more in the weeds, like talking about renting versus buying, or renting out a room in your house, or this, that, the other. That's for a different video. That's a bit too specific, but those are the kind of basics. So when you're changing your living situation, think about your savings goals and think about how much you need and how you can really optimize that, because it'll save you tons of money each month. So that covers the basics of how I save money and how I was able to save money to meet my financial goals. I hope you learned something. I hope you are able to meet some of your financial goals using these strategies. What it boils down to is having some systems in place to make sure you're always saving money. So have something you're saving for, track your spending, have the automatic withdrawals, and then starting to optimize in some of the categories in your life, like food, housing, transportation, clothing, cutting those expenses so that your savings can increase. So you start by setting up your baseline of savings each month, and then you start optimizing by cutting some expenses to save more and more and more. That's what I did. It helped me save a ton of money and meet my goals and live the life I want. So I hope you guys implement some of these. You start meeting some of your goals, increasing your savings, and living the life you want. I really hope this was helpful. I appreciate you watching the video. And if you liked it, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching.